So, hello and welcome back to War Thunder. Excuse my voice and my general sniffy attitude, I guess. I'm a little bit sick, but, well, I thought I'd just make a new video. And today we are looking at our first Soviet plane. This is the Yak-7B. Um, or I like to sometimes call it the Bastard Yak. Because, I don't know, I don't think this is a particularly good looking aircraft. It's like a Quasimodo of the Yak fighters with that hunchback, and I guess the earlier Yak one, the first Yak ones have it too, but still, yeah, even that one looks a bit more streamlined with that with the fairing being rather straight and not as rounded like a hunchback. So yeah, I don't think the Yak 7 is particularly good looking. But I remember back when I started War Thunder, and well, I wanted to go to the German line first, but I played the Russian significantly at the start when I played this thing back in 2013, and the Yak 7 I got it very early, and together with the Yak 1, and I really love both of them. I remember old players might remember the old gun sound of the 20mm Shevak cannon. It sounded glorious. And I played the shit out of both these aircraft. I really love them. But then I switched to the other nations, and for a long time I didn't play the Soviets. And just recently I um, thought I could go back and revisit some of the older planes. Um, Not that I didn't research a lot of them, but you can see I am pretty far ahead in the Soviet tree. But compared to other trees, for example, I have the entire Japanese tree uncovered. Yeah. So, the Yak-7. Let's talk a little bit about this aircraft. Now, the Yak-7, of course, stems from the Yakovlev Design Bureau, led by famous aviation engineer Alexander Yakovlev. And it was, in order to understand the Yak-7, we need to talk a little bit about the Yak-1. Um, where is it? Come on. Now, the Yak-1, at the time, the Russians had a lot of aircraft in their service, but a lot of them were very primitive ones, outdated ones, stuff like the I-15, I-153, or even the I-16, which was adequate for 1939, but would soon be outclassed by Messerschmitts and other aircraft, especially the Zeros over China. Um, so the Soviets, they had the need to develop new fighters, and they did so. However, at probably some of the worst time to do so, because when there were three principal fighters coming off the lines, and these three all came around when, more or less, when Germany invaded Russia. So yeah, not the best timing for them to roll these out, because this would lead initially to some production difficulties. Anyways, Yakovlev was pretty known for his sports aircraft. They also designed the Yak-2 light bomber, and actually it seems that Yakovlev was a little bit of a favorite of Stalin, so he tasked Yakovlev with designing a new fighter. Um, Yakovlev, being a young aviation engineer, took to the challenge, and the resulting aircraft would become the the Yak-1 with its first prototype, the I-26, um, being a competitor of the other two aircraft of that time that were intended to equip the Russian Air Force, the other ones being the Lag-3 and the MiG-3. Although both, at least for the MiG, there was also a MiG-1, which preceded that, and I think a Lag-1 as well. But the Yak-1 was the first of the Yakovlev fighters, and this line of fighters would become one of the most significant fighter lines of the Russian Air Force. Now, the Yak-1 was a pretty hot aircraft. I mean, it was sleek, it was fast. You can see where the Yakovlev's background for designing sports aircraft, it really took influence in this. Look at this, it really is a sleek looking thing. It reminds me a little bit of a Hurricane, but much more sleeker. much more racier. Um, yeah, but at the same time, Yakovlev was pretty clever. He thought, this is a very hot aircraft. We have a lot of old aircraft in our service. Aircraft that are slower, probably have more docile flying characteristics instead of these high performance racehorses that were now intended to come into service. And so he thought, okay, let's design a trainer as well. And the resulting aircraft would be called eventually be called the Yak7, but at first it was known as the UTI-26, which was basically a two-seat trainer. This had an slightly increased wingspan, fitted one 7.62mm cast machine gun, and was fitted with a retractable landing gear, a two-seat pilot's position with a rubber extension tube so that the pilots and student could communicate, and yeah, otherwise it was basically identical to the Yak-1. Of course, the tail was enlarged, I think. To simplify production, this would eventually be dropped. The landing gear would be now in a fixed position. This was known as the Yak7B. V standing for I can't remember the word. It basically stands for familiarization. And these would become the new basic trainer aircraft for the Yak series of fighters. They were all fitted with the Klimov VK105 or M105 engine, which was one of the most prolific aircraft engines of World War II, with scores of them equipping all the Yak fighters in different versions. The engine was a late modification or late development of the Hispano-Suiza engine, especially the 12Y. And there are so many different versions of the Hispano-Suiza engines, I constantly lose track. I mean, the 12Y was the one rated for, I think, 700, 900 horsepower. It's so difficult. Anyways, the 12Y would eventually be built under license by the Soviets, then be developed into the M100, and later into the M105. Initially, like in the Yak-1, they were VK105Ps, I think, which were rated for around 1000 horsepower, 1050, more or less. Well, yeah, and being a trainer aircraft, this was rather necessary, because the Yak-1, while it was an excellent aircraft in itself, it was a little bit of a handful, especially during starting, because it had a very light tail. And this meant that when taking off, there was actually a good chance of the aircraft just nose tipping over, burying its propeller in the ground, and well, that was it. There are reports of aircraft engineers standing on the tail of a Yak during takeoff to keep the tail down, which I think is rather ridiculous, but well, that's what it is. The Yak fighters were in general of mixed construction with tubular weld steel tubing and airframe covered by plywood. I mean, the wings were out of wood, the fuselage is out of wood and fabric. I think there were fabric parts. I think even in the Yak-7, although I'm not quite sure at that. I know the control surfaces are covered in fabric, but I think some of these parts here are also as well. Because I have a model of a Yak-7, and it looks like there's fabric on yeah. Anyways, the instrumentation of the aircraft was typical of Russian aircraft, rather Spartanic, with your very basic flight instruments. No radios. Later radios were fitted, but these proved notoriously unreliable. That was always a handicap for the Russian aircraft. Also, the wooden construction was a little bit of a problem. In the climate these aircraft were operated in, wood warping and um, moisten, moistness in the wings would gradually degrade the wing itself, its structural integrity, and stuff like that. And the Russians were aware of this, and that's why these aircraft were constructed as simply as possible to be able to quickly change out damaged parts. Although this would always remain a problem with these aircraft. Um, they also tended to burn rather fiercely when hit or when set ablaze. They were structurally speaking very tough aircraft. They could take quite a bit of hits, but once they were ignited, they tended to burn up quite easily. Also, at least in the early Yak 1, um, or in general, until a later point in the war, the quality of the parts was just was very crude. I mean, people talk about the T-34 being crude, and it is. If you have seen the weld lines on that thing, it's oh, holy crap. Would give a German welder would give a brain aneurysm. um, and in the Yak 1, during its early production, there were so many problems with quality control. There were misaligned undercarriages that had different lengths and tilted in different directions. Panels didn't fit correctly, and aircraft parts weren't really interchangeable between the same type. Um, so that was a huge problem. Um, yeah, the Yak-7 would make its first flight on the 23rd of July 1940. It proved itself well, so much so that a separate, not a design bureau, a separate team of, what's the word for it? Production crew. They fitted one of the trainers with an armored backrest, a 20mm Chevak cannon, and the 7.62mm machine guns, and also reverted the fixed landing gear back to a retractable one, but retained the rearwards position for storage, a second fuel tank, or even another pilot if necessary. Even bombs could be carried well. And this, they showed it, this was done independently by Yakovlev, and he was a little bit skeptical. He thought, is this really necessary? I mean, we have the Yak 1 in service. But, well, they did a quick test flight, and found the aircraft to be actually pretty good. Now, of course, with the second pilot position, all that stuff added. Bigger tires were also fitted and a strengthened landing gear. This aircraft was heavier. I think some 300 kilograms, more than 300 kilograms heavier than the standard Yak 1. However, it was more stable because of the better balanced center of gravity. Oh, I'm sorry. I really feel a little bit sick. Yes, back to the aircraft. The stuff I do for this video. Just kidding. Yes, a better center of gravity. This, after being shown to Yakovlev, he brought the aircraft up to his political, what's the, oh, I can't remember the word. Well, his bosses, yeah, well, what the hell, to his political bosses, and they were actually pretty impressed by the aircraft, and they wanted it to become a new frontline fighter. The aircraft, now designated the Yak-7, would become the first of a different line of Yak fighters. In general, you can see all of the Yak fighters at different versions, similar to like the Bf-109s being several vastly different versions in some cases, and the Yak fighters can be seen as well in that regard, despite having completely different designation as unique aircraft from the Yak 1, 7, 3, and 9. They all form the basic principle, and the Yak-7, well, the Yak 1 and the eventual Yak 3 would become the lightweight series of the fighters. The Yak 7 and the from it developed Yak 9 would become the heavy line, with the heavy line being more suited to general purpose, not only aerial combat, whereas the light series were much more thoroughbred dogfighters. Now, with the added weight, the aircraft was of course less maneuverable than the Yak-1, but it cured a lot of the problems. I mean, not a lot, but some of them. The the best one was, of course, the shifted center of gravity, which made the aircraft much more stable. These aircraft, which were called Yak7A, the first production run, they were still equipped with the Klimov VK105PA, I think, with some 1050 horsepower, giving it a top speed of roughly 560, 570 maybe, making it slower than the Yak-1, less maneuverable, but a little bit tougher, with the changes already made to some of the Yak-1s or the Yak-1 prototypes, the Yak-7 had a better head start in terms of quality control. And yeah, they would reach the front line in, I think, 1942, and proved themselves pretty good aircraft. The engine was tuned for low altitude performance, which made the aircraft and the Yak-1 much better than the other two main types we talked about earlier, the MiG-3 and the Lag-3. The MiG-3 was suited only for high altitude purpose, and dogfights took place generally below 5,000 meters on the Eastern Front, which meant the MiG-3 was, basically the MiG-3 down low, it was just a total dog. It just did not perform well and was too lightly armed. And the Lag-3 was a total hawk. I mean, that thing was a death trap. The Lag-3 in general was not very liked by its pilots. It was rather tough, but its performance was just completely inferior to the German types. The Yak series, on the other hand, they immediately proved quite successful. This is probably also the reason why they would actually eventually be built in such huge numbers. If we take all the Yak series together, Yak 129, because they are in essentially just different versions of the same aircraft, they would even outclass the German Bf-109 in production. And remember, over 33,000 Bf-109s were built, so that's quite impressive. Improvements would be made continuously, which would eventually lead to the Yak7B we have here in game. This features a more powerful VK105PF engine of around 1250 horsepower, I think, increasing top speed to almost 600 kilometers per hour. This also affected the the general performance of the aircraft quite beneficial. It could now turn a little bit tighter, it could climb much better, although it still was not as good in the climb as the Yak-1. I mean, this thing is a lot heavier. I mean, the basic Yak-7 is 300 kilograms heavier than the Yak-1, and the Yak-7B with its added improvements added another roughly 100 kilograms, so yeah. I think takeoff weight for the gross weight for the Yak-7 is around 2,900 something, 2,930, something like that. So almost 3 tons, which is still comparatively light and is roughly a late war level of a late war 109. So yeah, not bad. Also, an improvement on the engine was that in earlier Yak-1s, the engine was carbureted and was what would give out in negative maneuvers with the PA and the subsequential PF. This was not a problem, and the aircraft could also now perform negative G maneuvers. The second position, the rear pilot's position, which was retained on basically all the aircraft except for the Yak-737, which we'll be talking about later, could house bombs, a second crew member for reconnaissance purposes. And I think the bombs, this is where the Yak-9B, the one with the the bomb rack, the internal bomb rack, is derived from. Where is it? Somewhere here. Yeah, the Yak9B with the small bombs. But also, and this was a vast improvement compared to the Yak1 initially, a second fuel tank. And this would significantly up the range from, I think, 640 to around 800 kilometers effective range, which significantly was quite an improvement over the Yak1, which had 670, 680. And the problem was that while the main fuel tanks were fitted with were self-sealing, this fuel tank, this additional one, was not. And you can imagine that pilots were not very enthusiastic about a second unprotected fuel tank right behind you. So this was often omitted, negating the range again, but, well, it is what it is. With its improved quality control and better handling characteristics thanks to a more balanced layout, the Yak7 was found to be generally better than the Yak1, even though it was slightly slower and less maneuverable. And there were several versions of this aircraft being developed. There was the basic Yak7A, then the main production line's Yak7B, a number of different prototypes, even one with a UMO 004 engine tested after the war, reconnaissance versions, photo recon versions, and also a heavy duty version, the Yak737, which swapped out the 20mm Shavak for a 37mm NS37 in a Motorkanone style mount. A batch of, I think, 22 of these were built, and they proved themselves quite well. They were, in general, they had the rear cockpit position eliminated, and the cockpit moved further backwards to counter the weight of the big 37mm gun. And then there was also the Yak7PD, I think, which was a long-range version, which did not prove successful, but would be the immediate predecessor to the Yak9. And the Yak9 would become the most prolific of all the Yak fighters, with huge numbers of them being built. The Yak7 was in production until 1944, when production was phased out for the Yak9, and also the production of Yak1 was swapped out in favor of the Yak3. Although all the aircraft would remain in service until the end of the war, over 6,000 of the Yak7 would be built, making it one of the most important frontline fighter aircraft of the Soviet Union. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, anything else to say about the Yak7? I think we covered everything of importance about this aircraft, to give you a basic historic overview. Just thinking, did I miss anything? Well, we could talk a little bit about comparisons to the German aircraft. In principle, this also includes the Yak1 because they are very similar to each other, but for example, the Yak1 was similar in performance, was found to be equal or better than the 109E, inferior to the 109F, however, especially in the vertical plane, where the 109 with its more powerful engine could perform better maneuvers, and especially with the leading edge slats that the Yak fighters did not have. Oh wait, the Lavochkin fighters had them, but the Yak fighters did not have them, and this gave the 109 a lower stall speed, making it much better in vertical maneuvers. The Yak7 was decently fast at low altitude, with its engine geared towards that altitude. It was less maneuverable than the 109F. It had a wing load. Oh, by the way, exactly, we talk about wing loading. Wing loading for this aircraft is around 170. So similar to a P-51, Um, Although it does not have the power to weight ratio of the P51. I mean, one P51 has like what 0.18, and the Yak7 has 0.16. Well, it has a less powerful engine, and yeah, so that's basically a given. Although it is a rather light aircraft. At around 3 kilometers, the 109F and the Yak7 were almost equal, and for some reason, above 5,000 or at 5,000, the Yak7 turned slightly better than the 109. I wonder why, since the 109 is actually better suited for higher altitude combat or mid altitude. At least that's what I always thought. Maybe I'm mistaken something. Could be it. Maybe the source is wrong, but well, that's what I read about this aircraft. Yeah. I think that's about it. We need to talk about the armament. Oh, well, we can do this when we talk about the modifications and stuff like that. So let's take a look on the aircraft in the game. Starting with the stat card. It sits in RB at a battle rating of 2.7, so that's around the battle rating. The 109Es are positioned, some of the early Corsairs, so it's a decent spot, I guess. I don't trust the stat cards, especially turn time and rate of climb. It's not always accurate, at least in my experience. 570 kilometers per hour is, I think that is actually for an early Yak, for Yak7A, not a B, at least from the sources I could read. Oh well, it is what it is. In general, it is a very fast aircraft at low altitude here in game as well. Max repair costs 755, cheapest ships to run. Yeah. Ammo count 120 for the 20mm Shavak, and 400 rounds for the 12.7mm Berezin UBs, with I think 260 for one gun and 140 for the other. The ammo load is not the same for both machine guns, so keep that in mind. Oh, forgot to say, that was also one of the improvements over the Yak1, with the Yak7 having much better firepower by adding an additional machine gun. So let's look about modifications. What should you go first? So it's at low tier, so it's always a little bit different. It also depends if you want to use this in air RB or ground RB. You can equip bombs and rockets. Well, I play mainly in RB, so I wouldn't recommend them, so I would take these things last. Which is funny, because in real life the rocket mountings were also often removed, because they degrade performance too much. I generally would go for the engine modifications first, because this aircraft lives by its low altitude speed. So go for all the performance modifications first. The ones you can get. Then, well, these two first. Then compressor, airframe, survivability. Yeah, you could also go for the 12mm offensive belts, which is also not a bad choice. In general, I would just say go for these. Try to get these first as soon as possible, and do the rest as you just wish. Let's look a little bit. Come on the X-ray. You have an 8mm backrest, which is all the armor you get, but well, it's better than nothing. It's also better than the very early Yak-1s, I think, which did they even have armor? I know the Yak-1B has it, because this was one of the retrofits given to the aircraft. But does the... Oh, it does have it as well. The early Yak-1 has it also. Okay, good. Well. To the X-ray, yes. You can see no armament in the wings. This gives the aircraft a decent roll rate. This was something the Russians always tried to do. They very rarely had wing-mounted guns, always trying to move them to the center line to improve the aircraft's roll rate and high concentration of fire. With the 20mm Chevrolet cannon being mounted in the so-called V of the engine. So, between here, firing through the propeller up. You have 2 fuel tanks here and here. Be careful that these don't get hit, because they burn. Otherwise pretty, yeah, just your normal setup for a single engine fighter. So, skins. Do we have skins for this aircraft? Sadly, no. No skins for the Yak7, because this really is not the most underrated aircraft. You don't really see these often, even though they are pretty good. I mean, we have the Yak1 at 3.0, so a lot of them go for that because it's more maneuverable. But the Yak7, despite its questionable appearance, it might be an ugly duckling. But in terms of performance, it's a little bit of a swan. Let's put it this way. Speaking of that, let's take a quick test flight with the aircraft. Oh, yeah. If you want to go for air targets, in RB, take the air target belts for the 12.7s and the universal for the 20mm, although you could also use the tracer rounds since they have the FIT shells. Also, of course, you can take the stealth rounds, which has a lot of AGF shells. But the FIT shells, they're actually pretty powerful, which I think is rather strange, since I'm talking about history again. I'm sorry, but it's just so much stuff to cover. The aircraft, the 20mm rounds had actually rather low explosive mass, especially compared to the Germans. I think it was like 10 times lower. Or was it? I mean, yeah, the German had really good shots for the 20mm, but even compared to other 20mm rounds of the time, the Chevrolet round was rather low in stopping power. However, it was very accurate and had a high fire rate, so compensated for that. Speaking of high fire rate compensating, be careful when you shoot with this thing, because this thing goes through its ammunition very quickly. You have 120 rounds for your Chevrolet cannon, which is your main armament, and 400 total for the 12.7s. These 12.7s, they hit pretty decently. The 20mm being, despite the rather low weight of the shell, actually a pretty good gun. As you can see, no wartime emergency power. Yeah. That's just the VK105 for you. Also, VK105, a very important engine, but also not with all its troubles. It did consistently suffer from leaks and stuff like that. Something that was never completely rectified, but brought down to an acceptable level, I guess. Especially in the earlier variants. I think later it really was not that bad anymore, but the Soviets always had a little bit of a problem with their high-powered V12s. I mean, look at the VK107. Or some of the Mikulin engines. I think the 2.1 is powered by AM43s or something like that, which were truly powerhouses, but just not very reliable. So yes, back to the Yak1. The roll rate is, yeah, at high speed it's not that good. It's acceptable. At lower speed it's actually pretty decent. Its wooden airframe means that it can't really dive to such high speeds. In general, it's still rather crude production. I mean, this was just plywood covering the aircraft, and to my knowledge, there was not these were not impregnated with artificial resin or something like that, like in the Pyromerska. At least to my knowledge, it could be, but I haven't read anything about that. It could be that Gaijin tried to show that here in game, because let's see if behind enough. You can't dive this thing to very high speeds. Below 700, this thing rips. Okay, it's still going good. The good thing is it doesn't lock up. But as you can see down low on the deck, it's actually pretty fast. And you might thinking, oh well, that doesn't look very fast. But remember, this thing sits at 2.7. You will see a lot of down tiers, and there aren't really many aircraft that can go as fast as the Yak7. Maneuverability-wise, it's not as good as the Yak1. I mean, it's heavier, so what you expect, but I would say that's still pretty good. And at low speed, you can use your flaps. Unfortunately, they don't have a combat flaps position, only landing position. Do be careful with the engine, it tends to overheat, which, well, is historical, I guess, at full power. So from time to time, drop power to around 90%, so that the engine cools off a little bit, because you want to have your full power available during dogfights. Tactics. Now, again, you can fly this thing as a low-level interceptor. In general, I would climb to around 3,000 meters, which is a decent altitude for this aircraft, making boom and zoom attacks first. The engine is not the most powerful, so energy maneuvers, I wouldn't pull them with this thing, especially not against 109s. In general, avoid vertical dogfights with 109s. They will kill you. Try to be fast, maintain your speed, make quick attacks, and then zoom away. You can dogfight with the Yak7. It is possible against certain enemies, Corsairs, stuff like that. You can do it, but you need to be careful. You need to really analyze the enemy aircraft. You need to really pick out the position. You will see this in the game later, where I also make a mistake and try fighting a 109, something I should not have done. But in general, the aircrafts... Can I make this? No, I can't. Well, yeah, in general, the aircraft's good low altitude performance means that you can accelerate out of tricky situations rather comfortably. So I wouldn't say this thing is completely beginner friendly, because down low you will have, at this tier, you will have a lot of pilots who just try to dogfight, like turn fighting and stuff like that. And there are a lot of airplanes at this VR that can easily outturn you. The P-61 will be your worst nightmare, for example. 109Fs are very dangerous, although the E-model can be a little bit of a handful. On the other hand, you will find also a lot of early warplanes, some with fixed landing gear that you can easily dispatch. And as you can see here, down at a lower speed, around 400, the roll rate is much better. So good, in fact, that you can perform scissor maneuvers. It is possible to do. In general, keep your maneuvers into the horizontal and not into the vertical if possible. Or if you're absolutely sure, you are able to execute them to your benefit. So, that's it for the Yak7, the aircraft game. Anything else to talk? I think that's about it. Yes, I think we covered everything that I say. Let's head into our first battle. So we are here taking out the Yak7 here for the first battle of this video. We have several contact aircraft down, one of which already crashed. Good. I love low tier, it's so much derp. So much more fun than high tier. I mean, I can enjoy high tier gameplay. I mean, the F5C is just aborted last month, and it's amazing fun. And the F14 is okay as well. Also love the MiG-21, but yeah, in general high tier is not as interesting. You get into position, launch a missile, and hope your enemy is distracted enough to not deploy any flares, and that's about it. You don't have that many dogfights, because you enter one, you probably get missiled. That's why I love these low-tier battles much more. There's much more skill involved, in my opinion. And only positioning, bad maneuvers, flap deployment, engine power. Something you don't see, at least not that often in high-tier gameplay. At least that's my experience. F-63 zone, F4F, that's a slow aircraft. Also very maneuverable one. A36, that thing is fucking dangerous. Need to take care of it. Don't want to be too high, don't get too much speed, because you can't go even at 700 with this aircraft before it starts ripping itself apart. Oh my god, I'm already way too fast. Let's reduce speed. Barrel roll. And yeah, target again. Got him. That was beautiful. Got him as well. It's pretty laggy, was it? Okay, let's take her into vertical to get a little bit of altitude back. Because I don't want to get into a straight turning engagement with the B-36. Can't believe he survived that. Yes, got him. Hold on to maneuvers. Get behind it. Oh, we got him as well. Great. Again. I say take it into the vertical, the horizontal most of the time, but yeah, you can perform vertical maneuvers in such situations, because just turning with this guy at such low speed, because he was damaged, would have probably maybe put me in front of his guns, actually, because I overshot, because I had way more speed. We have no cannon armament left, but 150 rounds for the machine guns, that could be enough to get one more kill. And as you can see, against I mean, I had a lot of team support, but it was quite a furball. Another Yak7B. How's he doing? Oh, not too well. Whoa, what the hell? Oh, okay. None of the other guys got more than one kill. Ah, crap, there's a P-51. Kind of want to go back to the base to rearm my cannon. But yeah, as you can see, with careful trigger control, you can get up to 4 kills with this thing with one set of cannon ammunition, and that P-51 looks like he's heavily damaged. Or at least leaking. Oh yeah, he's leaking oil. Hope he makes it. They are all way high. Should I? Yeah, I should go to rearm. Better be safe than sorry this time. Especially since there are 2 P-51s. There are 3 guys still alive. Okay. So there's potential ace inside here. Dropping speed a little bit. This thing actually does not like to shed speed that much. I did not expect that. Its entry tension would be actually rather decent. Because these Yak 5, at least the Yak 7, it is a little bit heavier than the other Yaks. I still would not recommend doing energy fighting with this thing. Slashing attacks are probably the best way to play this aircraft. Just single out an aircraft that is low in energy, low in speed. Streak in at high speed, around 600 kilometers per hour. Get in, shoot, and get out. And then wait for dogfights to develop. Oh, okay, they got all of them. How the hell? And it won. Well, pretty good. Oh, the P61. He killed three of them. Three of them. Yeah. Actually, topped me on the leaderboard. Not bad. Not bad at all. Yep. Still 4 kills. Pretty intense dogfight there. Not bad at all. So I'd say. Well, let's see what we get. Jackal race. I generally don't use these at all. I have so many of these things. I never use them except the blind hunt ones. Yeah. Low-tier battle is expected. Battle task, yeah. Alright. Decent first match. Wait. So, we are here again with the Yak7 in the next battle, and we have already spotted our first target to engage. Nothing below us, great. B110 in the front. Oh, that's actually an easy target, but it seems he's kind of stuffed, I guess. Okay, Ju-87 has turned as well. I think I probably should go for the BF-110. Yeah, we're going for the BF-110. That Ju-87 is already north of... Oh, yeah, we gotta make this quick if we want to survive this. So we'll just streak in, get a few shots in, and then head out and reposition. Alright, looking good so far. Oh yes. Oh yes, here I come. Prepare your bottle, Suka. Come on. Yes. On fire. And he's down. Great. Still plenty of ammunition left. Oh, and there's a Spitfire. Oh. Come here. Come here. I'm gonna get you. Oh, I got him critical. Oh yeah, seems I blew off one of his... Oh, did I? Is he going down? No, not yet. Come on. Come on. Yes. Yes. That should be it. And another kill. Again, not any fancy maneuvers, just continuing through that. You are over 500 kph already, so we're gonna just streak in there. Okay, Hurricane. If he's distracted enough, could get him. And fire. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's 3 kills in quick succession so far. And we saved that course as ass. Good. Alright. Should we engage? Yeah, we need to. Let's keep him glued to our tail. Yeah, exactly because of that. We cannot. Oh yes. Oh, that's beautiful. Come on. That's perfect. Yeah, critical. Okay. I think he's damaged enough that we can afford to turn. Yes, we can, and that's our 4th kill right there. Take that, capitalist pig. I'm just joking, of course. But I'm feeling like a real Russian when I'm flying this thing. You have to know my best friend is Russian, and he's taught me all kinds of Russian swear words. It's amazing. I fucking love it. I mean, yeah, Polish and Russian are the best languages to swear in. It's so fucking good. Gotta take out that yeah, we don't have enough ammo left for that. too bad. I would love to get an ace. Oh, that's dangerous. Yeah. No. Let's return to base. Yeah, those Ju-87s, I mean, they are slow. But if you get into a very, very low speed turning fight or a dogfight with them, they will rape your ass. So yeah, playing it safe here. And then returning to the base. Alright, top of the leaderboard. Oh, damn it, did you hear that? Seems I'm kinda hungry. How the hell did an HS-129 get to this altitude? The fuck? Well, anyways, let's go for a landing. And rearm this little ugly duckling. Oh, god damn it, of course I ripped my flaps. And yes. Come on, slow down. This thing really does not want to slow down when you want to land it. Come on. Probably gonna rip that. Yeah, rip that tail wheel. Who needs it? And we're rearming. Come on. And we're good to go. Oh, sorry, I'm still a little bit sickly. And we're off. And oh, there's a bowfighter. Since there's nothing else available right now, we're just gonna go for that. This will take a while. Holy hell. Well, I guess I'll see you when we're in the target zone. Oh my god, this will really be taking a while. So, hell. A bowfighter and the HS-129. I can't believe the Henschel is still alive. Yeah, he's probably getting for his base, I think. That Henschel's actually doing a pretty decent job. There's a P-36 and a Corsair around him, and he, for some reason, is still airborne. What in the world? Okay, the P-36 is probably heading home to get more ammo. The Corsair's probably gonna get him, I mean... I think he set him on fire. Yeah, he set him on fire, okay. So that should be the end of the Henschel 129. And there's the Bullfighter. Yeah, he's definitely turning to his base, so we'll just loiter in the area and wait what he does, if he just jays out on the airfield or if he decides to stay and fight. So there's still a potential ace for me in this game. Whew, let's see. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you noticed my Yak7's shark mouth and decals. I think I applied these decals very early in when I got this thing. And I haven't changed it in years, so these are still decals I put on this thing at the start. I think they only introduced the option to mirror the decals a little bit later in the game. That's the only time I changed decals, when I just converted them for a mirrored image so that it would look more symmetrical. But otherwise I haven't touched the decals on my Yak7, which I think is kind of funny. So, the Bullfighter has decided to stay in the fight. Well, that's pretty honorable. But he has no chance winning against all of us. I mean, two of his teammates are bombers, so they are not gonna do much. And we are gonna go down and get him. Using the Yak superior low altitude performance, it should be no problem to get on the tail of this guy. Yeah, just look how quickly we are closing in. And the Bullfighter is not down low. The Bullfighter is actually not that slow. Especially not at this BR, so yeah. I have a full set of ammunition, so this should be no problemo. Almost in gun range. Come on. Let's get a few hits in with the machine guns. Trying to make him break. Maybe he is. No, he stays in line. I mean, he's probably trying to line me up with his rear gunner, but well, the Bullfighter's. Yeah, he is. But the Bullfighter's rear gunner has a horrible field of fire, so I'm not really that afraid of staying behind his tail. And we are spreading the ammunition around in true communist fashion. Come on, give me a good hit. Trying to set his engines on fire. Man, this guy really takes a beating. Oh, finally. That should be it. Yeah, and he's down. And that's an ace. Hell yeah. Now only the two bombers left. Oh, crap. I don't have enough ammunition to get them, I think. We have the P-36, but, well, it's only a P-36. Can he get the bombers? He's trying. Oh! Seems he can. He got the HU-111. Great! Good work. turn left. P108. Try. That's empty ammunition into this guy. Oh. Come on, trying to hit the engines. Critical, yes! Ah, I was out. Nихуя себе, блядь. Ow, ow, ow. Let's get out of its field of fire. Try to set one of its engines on fire again, but we got his flap and it seems one of his elevators, but sure wasn't enough. Unfortunate. Well, maybe the P-36 can pull off a fast one and get him as well. You know what? I think he might actually do it. Come on, dude. You can do it. I mean, I could have just rammed this guy, but nah. Let's just return to the base. Oh, he set him on fire. Great. And he's got him. What? Ah, great, dude. Yeah, very well played to the P-36. So yeah, that's a pretty nice ace match with the Yak7. Let's see those results. Come on, show me them results. Oh yeah, oh that's not bad. That's not bad for such a low tier match. Certainly cannot complain about that. Well, and so here with the final presentation, so to say, with the Yak7. So we found ourselves here in, I think we are in an up tier, because there are F6Cs involved. I'm not quite sure. I think that thing is a 3.0 or 3.3. Is it? Who gives a fuck? Anyways, first target spotted, 109. Ooh. 109s are dangerous to engage with the Yak7, because they can out-dogfight you. And that's an E model. Let's try it. He seems distracted, so I can't afford to do that. Alright. Yep. He doesn't notice me, and there's an insta-crit. Oh, I've got you now, buddy. Oh, I think I've got... Yeah, it should be it. I think... Yeah, he stalled out. Yep. Let's just let him die. Oh, holy shit. J20. Okay. Well, that could have been dangerous. He would have gone for me, but he didn't. Come on, which to engage? A lot of P-38s in this match. Holy shit. Oh, again, like the 109 earlier. Easy deflection shot and got him. Well, that's the end of BJ20. So let's see. Oh my god, holy moly. A lot of capitalist peaks, Ivan. Do not worry, Sasha. We are in Yak7. Strong plane. Oh my god. And we are evading the... What is he doing? He's actually trying to dogfight us? In a twin-engine fighter? Like the P-38? I mean, there are certain twins you can do this with. The Japanese, the Ki-45, is surprisingly maneuverable. Oh, we got the 109. Great. But in the P-38, no. And the P-400 is... Looks like he's at very low speed, so he might be a viable target. I also need to be careful with that thing, because the P-400, it's basically just a P-39, a lighter P-39, and P-39s, they turn very well. So, yeah. They are like American 109s. Boom! Another crit on the P40. Let's see if I can finish him off. We are going rather fast now, and it starts to lock up this act. Yeah, you can see the wings already fluttering. Oh. Yep, got the P40. Let's convert that speed into a little bit of altitude. And get the drop on the F4U Corsair. Again, building up some speed. You want to stay around 500, 520. Oh, the Corsair is low and slow. That's an easy target. And got him. Oh yeah. We are out of cannon ammunition. Still 120 rounds of the machine gun left. Okay, so P400s. Yeah, 4 kills so far. Certainly can't complain about that. And there's the P400. Yeah, he has all sorts of problems. And just notice that this is actually... I know it's not a down tier. I don't think we are top tier, but certainly are we? I don't know. Most matches with the Yak7 you will find yourself are either around 2.3 aircraft or around 3.0. At least in my experience. So the P400 is dead. An IL-2 and a 109. Which one do I want to engage? I mean, the 109 is the greatest threat right now, so... And he's nearer. But with 120 rounds of... You know, let's try it. We do have team support behind us, so... Yeah. Okay. Ah, the IL-2 is one of 2 kills. Huh. IL-2 pilots. I don't know what's with these guys, but there are IL-2 pilots in this in Warfare that can do some crazy shit with these aircraft. I used to play IL-2 a lot in AB, and I absolutely enjoyed it, but I haven't touched that thing in RB so far in all those years. Maybe I should, because it seems actually kind of fun. Alright, let's evade the first pass. Sort of evaded it. And yeah, I just realized I should not have done this. I mean, taking into the vertical, this is where the B101 is clearly superior. And now I'm also in the, no. Trying to lose a little bit of speed here to get him to... No, this is not a good idea. Alright, then let's put the nose down and do what this thing does best. Get fast at low altitude. And look how this thing accelerates down there. Yep. He's still skating. But now I'm actually trying to let him stick him to my tail so that my teammate can just shoot him off. Yeah, it seems to work. We're gonna re-engage now that he's busy. But I think that's the end of him. Yeah, he's got a Spitfire on his tail. Yeah. Well done, Spitfire. And I just realized I made a lot of mistakes in that engagement. That really just was not a good display of what this aircraft's actually good at. I mean, it still sort of worked out, but leaves a slight sour taste in my mouth, actually. Oh well. Nobody's perfect. So we're gonna... sorry. We're gonna head back to base and rearm. Because there's still only 4 guys to go. So there might be Uh, a potential record-breaking game for me. I doubt it's gonna happen, but I mean, an ace should be reasonable. Thank God the airfield is near. Ah, yeah. Long glide back to base. Engine at idle. You just look how this thing does not want to lose speed. Come on, come on. And you serious? No. Still not. Finally. And she's on the ground. Great. Whee! And we're rearmed, and there is... Oh, they have PBM Mariner. Didn't notice that. They're probably still gonna have some of those pesky P-38s left. And the IL-2. I think I did not see him die. Oh no, come on, not now. Oh, God, I hate my internet. So, flaps raised, and we're good to go. Come on, I want an ace. At least give me an ace. Yeah, bad network connection, my ass. Just fuck off. Oh yeah. God, why I'm so tired right now. So the P-38, and he's up high. Well, let's see. Let's follow these guys. He's got. Oh God, he's got a Yak-1. Damn it. This won't make stuff any easier. Okay, we still have the Spitfire. An I-16, it seems like. Phew. Oh wait, that's... No, that's the Yak-1 falling down. I thought there was another one I didn't see. The IL-2 is he there? Because he just killed something. And he might be an easy kill for me, if I play this correctly. However, I don't want to get ambushed by the P-38. So my goal is to try to take him out first. Because he's the biggest threat in the enemy team. And he has shown that he knows what he's doing. I mean, he killed the Yak-1. Okay. I'm just checking that there's not someone else I didn't notice. Because there is... something's incoming? That's a PBA. Oh, that's a Mariner. Okay. I don't really want to waste my ammo on him. But... it's the only thing in range I can spot right now. It could be that he's just trying to lure me into his gunnery range. His gun range, so that he can just swat me off his tail with his 50 cals. How do we approach this? I mean, obviously from above, that's the safest way to do it, just make a pass and then... Oh, now that changes everything. There's the IL-2. Alright, who do we go for? We have the advantage over both of them, since we are at higher altitude. So we can dictate where and when to engage. Is he actually trying to... Oh no, he's not trying to... Okay, then... Yep, that's the ball for you, and that's an ace! Great! Fucking great! So then, let's quickly change back to the Mariner. Oh yeah. Ah, he's trying to get to his airfield. Oh, okay. So he's trying to lure me into his flag range. Oh, and we are losing points. Ah, damn. What just killed our... Wait, there's someone else there. And he's probably our base. Another bomber. Probably up high. Way up high. Because I haven't spotted him anywhere. Okay, we're gonna approach this from the side. From the rear 3/4 view. Get some good shots in. Yeah, critical. Perfect. Holy shit, a little bit too close for comfort, to be honest. And ouch. Yes, I knew this was gonna happen. And let's quickly get away. And set up for another pass. Or... Yeah. Don't know if you're able to make it in time. 21 rounds of ammunition there. There's a decent chance I'm gonna get hit by a flak here. Nah. It's better to just go back to base and rearm. Oh god, there's just not that much time left, and oh shit, there's a P-38. Come on, what's the Spitfire doing? Why is he so far away? Ah, I think he's probably chasing the bomber. Well then, let's get some quick round kills. Try to even out the counter. But, oh, seriously, you got to be kidding me. Hit my, both my oil and my water tanks. Great. And now the P-38's coming in. Oh, fuck. I am in a very bad position here. Is he... Wait, he's pulling away. Alright. Yeah. Spitfire really could need the help here. Ah, I think the P-38 is chasing the I-16. Should have gone for me. I'm an easier kill at this moment because I'm damaged and he had every advantage. I mean, it certainly does not guarantee that he could kill me, but still, he had some good chances there. But this match is basically lost for us. I mean, 5 kills. I don't complain anyways. I mean, I just play this game for the kills, not the wins. So, yeah, got the I-16. Let's hope I just can make it back to base, or the game ends before I crash. Because my engine probably won't be able to do it much longer. Although, should make that distance. Maybe just set up a little bit of, put it into a very shallow climb. Oh, you know what? Let's just get as much speed up as possible. And try to get away from those flak. And the enemy, our base under attack, so there really was a bomber there. So what on earth the Spitfire was hunting for, I have no idea. And Flak has shot the bomber down, the B8. Oh, okay. I think our oil is empty. Yep. That's not good. We should make it. Should barely make it. Come on. I mean, the match will end anyway, so. But I would love to just stay alive. Oh, hell. It's already red. Yeah, let's get as much altitude as possible to continue the glide. Yeah, that should be. We should make it. Match ends anyways. Yep, that's it. Well, mission failed, but I think we played mostly to our strengths, except for that engagement with the 109. That was just... let's just forget that happened, okay? Well, still a decent result, I'd say. Yeah. So, that's that. And that brings this video to a close. Yeah, final conclusion to Yak7. Definitely not as good as the Yak1 in terms of pure dogfighting ability. It's heavier, so take that into account. What it does offer is better armament because it carries one machine gun, so slightly heavier hitting. Still a decent performer, just with some limitations. Certainly as a low rank aircraft you will get this thing if you start the use on the entry rather early at rank 2. And it gives you a pretty good taste of what to expect from the successing Yak fighters, particularly the Yak9s. Yeah. It's a decent aircraft. Not bad at all. Even though it looks rather ugly, if you ask me. But yeah, that's all for the Yak7. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.